Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Ballard. Welcome. And that I'm Reverend Michael. I serve as your bridge minister and have some announcements for you. First of all, if silence your phones, please, if you haven't done that already. And you can share your conversations, etc., downstairs afterwards. We're pausing potlucks for a couple of months, but there will be coffee and treats and conversation downstairs. So join us, please, in that. At noon today, there is the women's group, and they meet in the room next door here. All are welcome. And our practitioners are available after the service to do focused spiritual mind treatments. And that will be with Justin and me this year. And I'll be in the office area next door here, and Justin will be downstairs in one of the practitioner rooms in that. I want to do just a thank you to Judy, Bonnie, and Gary Polinsky, who did an amazing job cleaning up our surrounding yard around the church. So give them a round of applause. So mark your calendars. The speaker flyer is now available, so you know who will be speaking with us during the month of July. But one of the things you could be doing with flyers is posting them. So if you're going out for coffee and your coffee shop has a place to post a flyer, do so. Or if there's a store you go to where you can post it, do that so that we can get word out there in terms of the incredible month of topics and speakers and that. We also have, as you can see along the back wall here, a number of sign-ups for our Divine Connection that some still have room, so make sure you sign up because they're really actually a great way to reconnect or connect for the first time with different members of our community and that. In fact, next Sunday, actually, or next Saturday, July 11th, from 2 to 5, Art Under the Apple Tree with Chris Stanis will be watercolors, appetizers, and drinks outdoor. It's $35, and I think there's are there just 2 spots left in that? And an art instructor, wow. So I have to go downstairs into my closet to dig out some of my own watercolor tools and that. Divine Connection, already you've heard that, it is a way for us to connect with one another. If you haven't signed up for some, I invite you to go back there and take a look to see if there's something there that interests you. However, if some of you have ideas that you would like to put forward and maybe host some type of activity or whatever, then talk to Bonnie so that we can get those on our calendars and out to you so that once again we can create different ways for us to connect with one another in our community. Thursday, July 16th, we have Meaningful Movies, and then they're going to take a break in August. And I think it's this Earth's Greatest Enemy. This is a film that looks at environmental toll of the U.S. military. It's one of the world's biggest polluters and mostly flies under the radar. And there will be a discussion around that topic after the movie. And then again on July 19th, Golden Gardens is our home for our annual picnic. Mark Rourks will do the grill for us again, but everyone should be attending. Bring a side dish or some sort of dessert to share. And again, this is a really great opportunity for you to invite family and friends to join us at this particular event. A lot of this information is available oftentimes in your program, but also online. So check it out for more details in that. So our speaker today is Reverend Jim Boone, and he's actually launching our new theme for July, which is whole, no matter what. He's talking about no bad parts, how we tend to hide or judge the pieces of ourselves we're less proud of, and what might open up if we could let us look at all of it, even the messy parts, with a little more honesty and a little more kindness. Reverend Jim is a religious science minister who trained here at CSL Ballard, and he's been an important part of this community for years. And he also runs Weevil, a bringing spiritual group experiences to folks in senior communities. Now, our team today, our practitioners are Justin and myself. Audio and visual is John Nelson and Chris Newton. Our musicians are Kyle on drums, Lucas, who is stepping down from the tech room to do bass for the day, and featuring the returns of Becky Thatcher and Mark Corey with the backup vocals from Juniper Ray and Bonnie Pasek. So let's get started.
Call our home, and there was a song that we used to sing. Yeah, that song was sung about you and me. Now we're running like criminals at large, never knowing when and where we ever were charged. Were we ever charged? Yeah, all our pieces, they scatter out like the wind of discontent. All our pieces we gather up, but they just don't seem to fit. Ooh, 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 There was a soul that we used to hold. Yeah, that soul we used to call our own. There was a cause we used to believe. Lovers in love was the beautiful dream. Now we're stretching out in a brand new day. Yeah, we're stretching out, going our separate ways, gone our separate ways. Yeah, all our pieces, they scatter out like the wind of discontent. All our pieces we gather up, but they just don't seem to fit. All our pieces, they gather up like a wind of discontent. All our pieces we gather up, but they just don't seem to fit. Criminals at large, never knowing when and where we ever were charged. Were we ever charged? Yeah, all our pieces, they scatter out like a wind of discontent. All our pieces we gather up, but they just don't seem to fit. All our pieces, They scatter out like a wind of discontent. All our pieces we gather round, but they just don't seem to fit. No, they just don't fit. No, they just don't fit. All our pieces.
Thank you so much. And does Bonnie just not do everything, you know? Thank you, Bonnie. So good morning, everybody. My name is Justin Thumler, and I serve here as a practitioner to our community. And as is our tradition, we start each service by lighting the oneness candle in recognition of a major tenet of our teaching, which is that there is only one source, one essence, one isness, from which all arises and through which all manifests. Hence, as there is only one essence, the qualities of that one, such as love and peace and wholeness, are ours already as a birthright. At our core, we are each sourced and supported by absolute love, absolute peace, absolute wholeness, and more. And yet, the reality is many of us don't often feel or live this truth. The theme of the month for the Centers for Spiritual Living is whole no matter what, or as I would say, whole no matter the appearance otherwise. A lyric in our opening song reads, all our pieces, they scatter out like a wind of discontent. When I heard that phrase, I was reminded of a quote that spoke to me profoundly when I was in my youth by David Thoreau. The mass of men and women live lives of quiet desperation. No, I wasn't much fun at parties. The song continues, we're running like criminals at large, but were we ever charged? Some of us think and operate as if we've been charged. We're at fault, we're guilty, we're broken, we're unworthy. In truth, we were never broken or unworthy, ever. As I noted earlier, love, peace, and wholeness are ours as a birthright. We do not need to do anything to earn them. As Ernest Holmes, the founder of our teaching, stated, there is nothing to be healed or made whole, only truth to be revealed. That statement points to why the Centers for Spiritual Living exists. It is to help each of us remember the truth, embody the truth, and live lives of love and peace and wholeness. The song points to this when it states, there was a place that we used to go, a place we used to call home. We've never left home. Home has never left us. If called, please join me in blessing this service. Know as you are inspired that it serves to carry us all home to a place where we already belong, where we each uniquely express that one love, that one peace, that one wholeness. And if you are in agreement with this, I ask you to affirm with me, and so it is.
Spirit, I'm sorry about last night. Spirit, we both know I tried. Spirit, feels like the world's in pieces. I'm sure you've got your reasons, but I have my doubts. Spirit, I have my doubts. When everything that's right feels wrong, and all of my belief feels gone, and the darkness in my heart is so strong, can you reach me here in the silence, singing these broken songs, looking for the light for so long, but the pain goes on and on and on. Can you reach me here in the silence? Spirit, what a week we had. Spirit, has the world gone mad? Spirit, feels like the world's in pieces. I'm sure you've got your reasons, but I have my doubts. Spirit, I have my doubts. Spirit, I've got my doubts. When everything that's right feels wrong, and all of my belief feels gone, and the darkness in my heart is so strong, can you reach me here in the silence, looking for these broken songs, looking for the light for so long, but the pain goes on and on and on. Can you reach me here in the silence? Are you there? Can you hear me? Do you care? Are you near me? 'Cause I'm scared and I'm weary. Are you there? Can you hear me? Are you there? Can you hear me? Do you care? Are you near me? 'Cause I'm scared and I'm weary. Are you there? When everything that's right feels wrong, and all of my belief feels gone, and the darkness in my heart is so strong, can you reach me here in the silence, singing these broken songs, looking for the light for so long, and the pain goes on and on and on. Can you reach me here in the silence? Can you reach me here in the silence? Can you reach me here in the silence? I have my doubts.
So lovely. So lovely. So lovely. Wow. It's great. Again, it happens to me sometimes. It's great to be in tears when you walk up to the podium here. That's awesome. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Becky. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Lucas. That's a great lead in. And it was a great lead in to have Justin do a prayer for us, wasn't it? That's great. Yes. What a presence and what a pro. And I really kind of feel like my talk is superfluous today. I mean, you could just rest on everything that Justin said and the spirit that he said it in and the energy that he said it with. I think so. But we're here, so let's knock it out. What do you think? My name's Reverend Jim Boone. The title of my talk today is Whole No Matter What, as has been discussed. And I am a member of this community. I'm not a staff minister. I do lead my own ministry, We Evolve. If you want more if you're interested in more information, there's cards in the back of the room. My email address is pretty simple. It's Jim at, my name, Jim, that's a pretty short name. The letter W and the word evolve, weevolve.org. And so send me an email if you have any questions about the talk or any questions about bringing spiritual growth, real conversations into senior communities. Let me know. It's a great thing. If you have somebody that's in a community that you think would love to have some real conversations, and there are many beautiful conversations to be had, give me a call. If you would like to volunteer, if you think you could lead one of these, if you're a practitioner, if you have some other talent, if you're a minister, let me know. I would love to support you in it. It is not just a great thing to do because you're a great person and all that, right? It is actually, and there are people in this room who can testify to this, it is an enjoyable, fulfilling, fun experience, and you grow in the process if you're leading these experiences in senior facilities. So enough with that. Now, I usually start my talks with a micro practice. I ain't doing that today. What I'm gonna do today is a shout out, all right? I'm gonna do a shout out today. And it comes out of the last talk that I did a couple of weeks ago, all right? I did a talk, and there was a little video, with the talk last time, and I had a couple of people come up to me afterwards and give me some feedback and give me some thoughts. And the thoughts were, hey, you mentioned some stuff in the talk, and I thought it was interesting at the time, but I kind of like to be present, and engaged in the talk, and I'm not really a note taker, and I don't want to be distracted with trying to get everything down and then kind of losing, the context and the big picture. Man, it'd be great if I had one person suggest a podcast, which is an awesome idea. I had one person suggesting it'd be good to have a short sheet. Well, then I got an email a couple days later. It's funny how these things work out, right? And just the perfect tool for this presented itself that has already existed, that has already been there, and that anybody can take advantage of if there happens to be anything that I talk about here today that's of interest to you to follow up on. And I got an email from Laura McLeod, the chair of our board, the chair of our marketing committee. She's just a major figure and a beautiful presence in our community. And I got an email from her saying, hey, we had some video issues with your talk. I want to make sure, I usually go back and look at the video to make sure I kind of got some points right, but I can't do that. Would you just look this over before I post the blog? And I looked it over, and I could not have written myself, having just given the talk, a more accurate to the energy that I intended, or I remember, who knows what I actually said and did, but there was nothing, it conveyed the whole energy of it, the subtext, the primary focus, all the different things about the talk, including the books I mentioned, the titles I mentioned, the authors I mentioned, and a lot of the concepts I mentioned. So, big ups to Laura McLeod. That blog has always been here. It's been here for, how long have you been doing the log, Laura? How long do you think it goes back? Any idea? Yeah, okay, almost a year. That's a lot of talks. That's a lot of information. And that is part of what's central about this community. What we talk about here is kind of a focus every week. And it's really great to be able to go back to that on lots of different counts in many different ways. This is a tool you can use in different ways. And you hear me talk about tools a lot. One way to use it, of course, is that's something I think, all the other stuff you talked about, I don't know, but I think I could use something out of this book, out of this concept, out of this idea, out of this practice he talked about. But it's also kind of a good thing for you, isn't it? To share with other people, because there are other people you know like you. I mean, you kind of associate with people you like, right? You kind of associate with people you relate to. You probably have friends, you probably have people, you probably have partners, you probably have peers that might enjoy being in this community. And we're not trying to fund a corporate jet for Reverend Michael to fly around on. We're just hoping to share. Oh, that's a great point. Maybe we should have that in the budget, Reverend Michael. Maybe we should. Maybe we're missing the big picture here. Maybe we're not putting that goal in mind. But there are people in your life, I'm sure, who might enjoy coming to a talk, or they might just enjoy something out of the talk. It's a really quick reference. Send them a link. If you go to our website, it's just at the top tabs. It's all the way to the right, the blog, and you can go look up whatever you want. And I just wanted to, man, it was just so well written. I mean, is anybody in the room write? Yeah, a lot of people write. It's a dicey thing to do. It's a challenging thing to do. And there's many things, you can get over detailed, under detailed, you can convey completely the wrong tone. And it was just so accurate. And, Laura's a communication professional, so it makes a lot of sense that it worked really well. But I just wanted to give a shout out to Laura. I mean, it's just quality work, beautiful work. Thank you very much. All right. So my agenda for you today in this talk about whole no matter what, breaks down into 4 parts, I think. It breaks down into 4 parts. So somehow I got into P words this week. Proposal, I have a proposal for you. I have principles, I have a paradox, and I have power for you. I'm interested in the power. We'll get to the power eventually. I'm interested in the power. So, the proposal. Another tool you can get is if you want to figure out, is this talk today going to be worth my time? It's a beautiful day in Seattle. There's lots of other stuff to do. Is it worth my time, talent, and treasure? What we say around here, to come here today. I mean, you're going to give your time if you're here, or even if you're watching online. If you're enjoying online, we would ask that you share with us and share your treasure with us, because it does take funding to run this place and to make these things happen. And also we ask people to share their talents, especially if you're members. We have many talented people doing great things here. So if this talk is to be worth your time, talent, and treasure, why would that be? Why would that be? And so if you looked at the email that you got this Wednesday, and again, another one Friday, and it's generated by Bonnie, who does a great job of summarizing things and getting the word out, you would kind of see what we're talking about here today, and you would see if it was worth it. And what we said was, what would my life look like if I honored and loved all of my parts, even those I don't like? And you would have seen a quote from Ernest Holmes, "Our word does not restore wholeness, it reveals it." Justin spoke to that a little bit. And we may not be aware of how our automatic and habitual thinking criticizes, rejects, and suppresses and conceals what we don't like about ourselves. But what if we honored ourselves with clarity and love? What if we treated ourselves like a friend? Now, you may already do that. You may already do a good job of treating yourself like a friend. My partner, my wife, is always confused by some of the things that I find that I need. She would say, and I think I said this last time, she said, "What's not to love? What is the problem?" Well, some of us struggle a little bit with this loving all of ourselves, loving the completeness of ourselves. And so the question I proposed was, if we honored ourselves with clarity and love, can we employ and enjoy the paradoxical intentions? They seem paradoxical, don't they? The paradoxical intentions of acceptance and growth at the same time, simultaneously. And here's the power payoff. Here's the power payoff for me. What personal power could we unleash and enjoy if we could see ourselves clearly, if we could do our best, and always evolve? And that's all based on wholeness. That's based on wholeness as a recognition, not a destination. That's based on wholeness as a revealing, not an arriving. That's whole no matter what. All right, so principles. We have some great principles here. We are a community of principles. We teach principles. There are something like, where is my number here? I put it down here. 574 pages in just one book, The Science of Mind, our primary textbook. That's a lot to absorb. It's what we study as practitioners and ministers. There's like hundreds of books. I mean, Ernest Holmes wrote many, many dozens of books, and then there are anthologies and all sorts of different collections just on Science of Mind, much less true New Thought, all the different associated authors, and many authors who go into this. There's just so much material. So I like to keep it simple for me. I like to focus on simple principles. I really need that, all right? And you hear me talk about what we believe sometimes, right? There's a list called What We Believe, Science of Mind, What We Believe. It's at Science of Mind magazine. I'm not going to talk to those today because I'm going to talk about core concepts. So if you take our foundations course or if you take our introductory courses, you're going to be introduced to some core concepts, 10 ideas that kind of summarize everything. And if you get confused or get lost in the text or get down a rabbit hole or just lost in life, it's a good place to start. It's a really good place to start. You can just type in your search engine, whatever search engine you like, Science of Mind, core concepts, and it'll come right up. There's any number of websites that have a PDF document that'll give them to you. And there's one here that is really represented in New Thought, in Science of Mind, in religious science. And that's the idea of wholeness. It speaks right to what we're talking about this month. And that core concept, it's core concept number 5, says, spirit is a transcendent, perfect whole that contains and embraces all seeming opposites. Spirit is a transcendent, perfect whole that contains and embraces all seeming opposites. As human beings, we have free will, and can choose what we experience, whether it be positive or negative. The same principle that brings us freedom, prosperity, and joy also allows us to experience bondage, lack, or misery according to our consciousness. So this is what we would teach. This is what we would talk about with this concept of wholeness. This is what we're grounded in. And I can agree with this. I mean, I think it's not a revolutionary idea. It's not a secret idea. It's not something that is unique just to religious science. This is a very clear and I think reasonable and sensible idea. This is a good belief to have. So, what happens? Why doesn't this always work? Is this lofty idea just not practical in real life? Are you just a person that's been blessed with certain things that just you're not going to be whole? Does that make sense? What happens here? When your life seems like it's not working, the things you're wanting to happen keep not happening, when you're challenged and you're depressed or anxious or exhausted or whatever, why doesn't this work to just remember your wholeness, right? Shouldn't that cure every depression you have? Oh, I'm whole. That's right. I forgot. V8 moment. I'm good. And another Ernest Holmes quote might speak to this. It's out of the Science of Mind textbook. Life is a mirror, and it will reflect back to the thinker what they think into it. Life is a mirror, and it reflects back to the thinker what they think into it. And this kind of brings me back to some of the estimates that I talked about last time I was here a couple weeks ago. So if you're having 6,000 or 6,200 thoughts a day, and if you're having 95% of those thoughts be habitual or completely unaware of, you're completely unconscious, they're completely unconscious programming, what does that tell you? I mean, how does this idea of not wholeness get to come to be in you and probably gets lodged in all this programming that's just automatic? I mean, you would have to ask AI to print you out 100 books to see what am I really talking to myself about all day long in the background? What is my AI? What is my automated programming? What is my automatic intelligence? Well, there's a good story. There's a good passage from Ernest Holmes, and it's from a publication I don't recognize. I don't know. I've never seen it before. It's called New Horizons. It must be a collection or an anthology, but it speaks to this. Our inherent nature is wholeness because we are each unique manifestations of the divine. However, here's the but. As children, we learn through our families, through our educational systems, through religious teachings, the larger culture in which we live, and our local culture. We learn what is right and good. We learn which behaviors get rewarded and which get punished. So we learn to hide those parts of ourselves that are not rewarded. In addition, if we grow up in a family or environment where there is strife, there's chaos, there's trauma, we may learn ways of coping that keep us safe. I know I have. There are many ways that I have learned to handle myself, handle my feelings, handle life, keep things stable, keep myself safe, keep myself calm, that, boy, I wouldn't use them today, but they got me through the moment. They got me through some really tough times. And he goes on to say, the hidden parts and the coping mechanisms are not often conscious, but they affect our lives as adults. When we seek to change our lives by changing our thinking, we often get stuck. Having multiple parts is not a sign of illness. We have multiple parts. For example, you might think about taking on something new, and one part of you might say, yeah, let's do this. This is good. This is going to be good. Another part might say, whoa, slow down. You don't know what you're doing. So what is this paradox here? This seems to be a paradox. We have this lofty principle of wholeness, and yet it may not help us in the moment when we're struggling, when we're trying to get to something, we're trying to create something, or we're just miserable. I mean, it happens to all of us when we're in a storm. And one way to look at it, the one that came to my mind is this. You heard me talk about a guy by the name of David Burns last week. And in writing in a book about relationships and why do we get into so much problematic cycles in relationships, right? Shouldn't the other person just communicate correctly? Shouldn't they correct their errors and therefore things would work better? And if you corrected all your errors, wouldn't everything just get better? And the way he explained it is, well, it doesn't quite work like that. It's because we are enmeshed in a system of circular causality, right? And I think this thinking, when we're trying to think about wholeness and we're trying to do things and we're trying to keep ourselves healthy mentally, physically, spiritually, and we're trying to create things, we're trying to live a good life, we're trying to feel good, we find ourselves enmeshed in a system of circular causality. In fact, it's kind of a spiral. The logo that you'll see on my card if you pick it up is a spiral. So we evolve, we're constantly evolving. But that spiral doesn't always go up, does it? That vicious cycle can point down. That vicious cycle can point down. But it's the same cycle, right? It's the same cycle. We have the concept that we're whole. What's the missing piece here? Where does the power come from? Where does the power come from? Well, for one way for me is the universal power of shifting perspective. You don't have to completely fool yourself about what's going on or what's real in your life or your deficiencies or your weaknesses or your strengths or whatever. You don't have to fool yourself. You don't have to snowball yourself, right? Snow job yourself that everything's good and make yourself feel better. You can be real about things, but you can view that reality from a different place. You don't have to disbelieve all your stories. You can even recognize all the stories that have brought you to this point. As practitioners, we do this thing as an exercise in practitioner training because you want to engage with someone. What's going on with you? They're usually coming to you with a problem, right? And there's usually a lot of story going around that. It makes sense. If you have a problem, there's a lot of story around it. There's something going on, right? So you're trying to engage in that story. You're trying to get them to voice that story and see what's going on. What is the thinking that is involved in this problem? And that's really cool. They had us do this at one point in practitioner training. They had you turn around and they had you talk to the wall and tell the wall that story, everything about your problem, right? And then they'd say, okay, now don't forget the wall, but turn around. Now, that's back there What's up here? Where do you want this to go? That is a positive spiral, right? It's not divorcing yourself from reality or your mistakes or your failures or your flaws. And it's a good thing, because this is not a revolutionary concept either. Your weaknesses, your deficiencies, your flaws, your failures are often just the other end of your strengths, your powers, your superpowers, your talents. Your natural, inbred talents are usually just on the same continuum. They're the same thing. So if you're able to look at yourself and the situation you're in with some perspective change, a change in perspective, it's what I'd recommend. But this is the fun part. So we get to talk about these spiritual concepts. The fun part for me is when you get to involve God, right? Because we teach and we treat, right? We teach and we do. We teach these spiritual principles and we treat. But what's the other part of it? Does anybody remember that? You teach, you treat, and you move your feet. Now, that may not be the fun part for you. That is the fun part for me. Because in that exercise, you focus yourself on where you want to go. You set the direction. This stuff's not gone, but it's back there. It's where I'm coming from. It's cool. This is where I'm going. And just let God bring stuff to you. And life will bring stuff to you every day, throughout every day. It's amazing. Now, there's one spiritual tool that might be helpful. It's in my practice, my daily practice right now. I ask myself some questions about this. In those core concepts I talked about, there is a concept of forgiveness. And it might be a little different from the concept of forgiveness you may have heard in the wider culture, right? It's not forgiveness is divine. Forgiveness is human. This is core concept number 8. In the eternal now, there can be no place for divine anger, unforgiveness, or punishment. It's a little different than some ideas maybe Christianity might propose. At least they might appear different. I think they're the same, actually. In the eternal now, there can be no place for divine anger, unforgiveness, or punishment. If we perceive a need for forgiveness, this is a human condition, and forgiveness is the process that frees us to live in the eternal now. So you may need some forgiveness. This may be a helpful thing for you. You may need to forgive somebody else, of course, and maybe that's how we think about it a lot. But have you forgiven yourself for the things you hold against yourself? They don't have to be big things. They can be little things that are just operating in that 90 to 95% of your automatic and habitual thinking. There may be some things you haven't forgiven yourself for. And what does that do in your daily life? Does that give you passion? Does that bring you energy? Does that make you excited to become involved in what you're trying to create in your life? Man, it wears me down. It wears me out. Wears me out. So I would advocate a forgiveness practice. And mine is out of the book that I talked about. I was here last 2 weeks ago. Completely different topic, but it's really helpful for me. And if it's not helpful for you, you could help somebody else with it, because there's somebody you know probably that might benefit from a practice like this. It's write down all the things you're holding against yourself. And I do this every day. I've done this whole big exercise. But write them all down on a sheet of paper. I did this, I failed at that, I let this go, I did this, I said this, whatever it is, I did this. And then you write that you forgive yourself. This is part of the human condition. This is the nature of humanity. If it's the nature of humanity, it is your nature. It is not your flaw. It is not your catastrophic crack in you. You're human. You're a beautiful human. And you can write about this, let it go. And the author, Kamal Ravikant, he wrote a book called Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It, which it does. He said, go to the beach, go to a fire, go to a campfire, wrap that thing up in a rock. I don't do this because I'm sort of environmental, but throw it in the ocean. Get rid of it. Burn it. Now, I kind of have to do this almost every day because I have to check, okay, I'm good today. No, I don't have anything to write, but there'll be something. ooh, I need to forgive myself. That's burning. That's burning energy. That's burning calories. That's burning electrons in my mind. I need to deal with that. Now, that doesn't mean I have to correct my flaw. I have to I have to take a class. I have to focus my time on, I can't ever do this again. I've got to find a way to prevent this. I just need to forgive myself. And in forgiving myself, I don't forget about it. It doesn't go away. In fact, it kind of makes me stronger. I kind of have more energy. I kind of have more power to move forward on the blessing of that mistake. So I'm talking about my tools here today, and they might be just effective for me. They might have some suggestions for you. But what's really important is your studio. Like, you ever seen a recording studio? There's just a whole panel of dials and slide dials and meters and lights and switches. Or maybe a cockpit. That's a good one, right? You ever peeked in the cockpit and went, oh my gosh, we're going to fly? I mean, can you imagine having to fly? All that, I mean, it's a field. It's 360, well, probably 180 degrees of switches and dials and meters and readouts and numbers. So my tools aren't going to be the same as yours, but I think you should know your cockpit. When you are losing energy, right? When you are stuck, which switches do you reach for? It's like, oh yeah, I need to go over here with this one, right? All I need to do is that. So you have your studio, your cockpit, your tools. What I would say is, I know of a whole toolbox that has been really effective for me. A whole toolbox. And I'm always playing with tools. I'm always playing with ideas. I'm kind of one of those idea people. I both love it and I'm kind of embarrassed by it. But it brings me to a more important question than all of this thinking that I'm talking about, right? You're listening to my words. I'm talking about these concepts and ideas. I'm proposing some things that might be useful to you. And you're trying to decide what you want to take out of this other than another morning in Seattle. And so my higher question would be, now that we've talked about what you think, let's talk about, what do you feel? What do you feel? Do you feel in your chest, in your belly, in your body, do you feel good? Now, I haven't lived in this wholeness idea very long. And I'll tell you a story where it comes from me. I reached a place in my life about the age of 50. It was about 2014. And my life became almost unlivable. And I had a beautiful wife, a beautiful life, beautiful children. We had the wealth we wanted. We have a beautiful home. Nothing is wrong in our lives. It's amazing. And I couldn't function. I was in such inner pain in my mind and in my body. I couldn't work. And I've been working all my life. The resilience, the energy, the power that I had been able to exercise all my life no longer was effective. I couldn't do it anymore. That's not how you want to feel, I don't think. And so I found myself in life medicated, many mental health medications, counseling, therapy, and still in pain. So what happened? I walked into a toolbox. I walked into this community in 2014. And all I did was listen to Reverend Eric O'Dell and Reverend Colette Mercier give some talks. And all I did was take a class. And I found myself in this place in my life where all of the self-criticism, all of the abuse I heaped upon myself to make myself better that led to my success, could just be replaced. I wasn't a dumb person for living like this. As I said, if you grow up and this is an effective tool you use it until it's not effective anymore. It wasn't effective anymore. And so I walked into this place feeling broken. I am broken. I need healing. I must heal. How do I heal through this? And this place, the people in this place, the spirit in this place, taking classes with other people, sharing really intimate things, hearing others struggling in similar places, sharing really, truly intimate things, talking about ideas, playing with what could work here. What is the operating principle of life in this area of life? In this community, in this place, I learned from you. Remember Michael said it one time. He came here and he fell in love with us. I came here and I learned from you. From this place, from this community, Jim, you're not broken. You're whole. No one said this to me. No one took me through a 10-point plan on feeling whole. I was here and I spent time here. I learned here and I felt whole. That is the feeling I think you want. And on this healing path, healing is a great word. We can get sick in any number of ways, but there's a better way to think about it maybe. You taught me in this place, taking classes, sharing things, open sharing, doing man, Galen, you might do it. How many exercises, papers did we write? How many things do we share in our classes? There was nothing that said, you're growing, but I learned I'm growing. I'm not healing. I don't have a disease of imperfection or inefficiency or deficiency. You're not diseased, Jim. You're growing. And so it's great to be able to do talks here, but it's great to be a member here. I hope this helps you remember the ideas we wanted to get across to you today. When we say whole no matter what, that's not some happy, clappy thing. It's not some airy-fairy affirmation. It may sound like it. It's real to me. Thank you for the feeling you have given me. And so it is.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am light. That's a good note. And thank you, Reverend Jim. Made me cry. Which isn't hard to do, obviously. Would the ushers please come forward? Traditionally, this time of a service is generally called the offering, and I've been playing with different imagery lately. Today, I'm going to refer to the baskets that will be passed around soon as a potluck. Please contribute as you are called to make this center the home of your heart's desire that I spoke of earlier. Perhaps your contribution to the potluck is financial, to keep the lights on or the music happening. Perhaps it's an offer to volunteer for the picnic coming up, or to help keep the potlucks going again. Perhaps your contribution is a main course in the form of a prayer for yourself, for someone you love, for this community. Or perhaps your contribution is a dessert in the form of a blessing of gratitude, of joy, or love. And if you didn't bring anything to the potluck, as we always say, there's always plenty. I invite you to metaphorically take what you need. There is abundance here. Engage this in abundance as you're inspired. Connect more deeply with the community. Lean on the support of the ministers or the practitioners. Open to the inspiration of the message or the music or the empowerment of this teaching that Reverend was spoken about earlier today. Lean into the power of this teaching to feel love, to feel and live joy and abundance and wholeness. And now, if inclined, I invite you to join me in blessing these gifts of the heart, knowing they serve the good of each of us, the good of this community, and the good of our wider world. And if you're in agreement with this affirmation, I invite you to join me in affirming, and so it is. Thank you, ushers. And so instead of a traditional benediction, we have decided that we will be sharing together our new covenant for our new minister, our new spiritual director or directors. So as you're called, if you're willing and able, to please stand and we'll read this together. Thank you. There is one life. That life is God. That life is the life of Center for Spiritual Living Ballard now. As I stand in agreement with my beloved community, I see my new senior minister revealed before me as leading, guiding, serving with joy and wisdom. I now intend to experience my new senior minister in full cooperation and agreement with my community, knowing this truth about myself, for I am sustaining and strengthening our individual organization's vitality through living spiritual principles and practices. I am inspiring services as a spiritual path, contributing to a world that works for everyone. I am meeting all with authenticity, compassion, and appreciation for every spiritual journey. I am cultivating joy, generosity, and a welcoming presence that attracts new members and grows a vibrant, thriving community. I am grateful for this truth, knowing it is already done, and so it is. Thank you.
Welcome to this sacred space. Welcome to this sacred space. See the joy on every face. See the joy on every face. This house is built on love. This house is built on love. This house is built on love. Leave your burdens at the door. Leave your burdens at the door. Not a stranger anymore. You're not a stranger anymore. This house is built on love. This house is built on love. This house is built on love. Say it loud and say it clear. Say it loud and say it clear. We're so happy that you're here. We're so happy that you're here. This house is built on love. This house is built on love. This house is built on love. This house, this house, this house is built on love. This house, this house, this house, this house is built on love. This house, this house, this house, this house is